and a happy new year to all of you watching. Although that only works if you're watching shortly after I publish this, so as videos remain on YouTube indefinitely, happy Easter, happy Halloween, happy birthday, happy Christmas again, and have a great summer. Generally, I guess, be happy. In my pre-Christmas video, I asked watchers what cycling adventures and challenges they had planned or would like to do in 2023, however big or small, because the challenge is relative to what you're used to doing. Mark Beaumont, for example, might plan to cycle around the world in less than 78 days this time, whereas Joe Bloggs may decide to get fitter by cycling to work 2 days a week. Whether you're Mark or Joe, they carry the same weight of challenge and trepidation. I guess to carry the description challenge, there needs to be an element of stretching your ability to the point where you think you might be biting off more than you can chew if you don't commit to prepare. And that brings me to where I am with my own 2023 challenge. I'm at the point where I'm questioning exactly that. Am I biting off more than I can chew? If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm aiming to cycle across France in September 2023 from St Malo to Nice. I'll link at the end of this one a previous video about the challenge and the inspiration I get from the children at the baby hospice that I hope to raise lots of money for by doing it. I've done something similar in August 2021, completing Land's End of John O'Groats over 14 days. And France is a similar distance and the same number of days. But in my mind, to justify people sponsoring me to do this, it needs to be significantly more difficult than the same distance and time I did before. And that's where Mont Ventoux comes in.
Mont Ventoux, the giant of Provence. It regularly features in the Tour de France. Mont Ventoux is visible from 100 kilometers away in all directions, and with its deforested peak, has the illusion of being snow-capped throughout the year. The rugged, desert-like appearance on the top acts only to enhance the difficulty of riding this iconic climb as you enter from a sheltered forest to a harsh landscape with swirling winds and relentless heat.
Here's the profile of this 13.5-mile monster climb, and here's me over the last few months. Cycling up Mont Ventoux in a year's time seems impossible right now. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Oh, bloody hell. Oh. Come on.
The Mont Ventoux climb I'm doing next year is 14 miles long, so this really needs to be easy, and it isn't.
Can you tell Ventoux is on my mind? Naturally, I think comparing to where I am now and where I need to be in September is inevitable, but it can lead to throwing the towel in. And some of you could be facing the same scenario with your own plans and challenges. This is where we need inspiration to ensure it's not a lost cause. I can tell you about 2 things that I hope will get me through this bit of doubt. One that I recommended in my self-motivation video that I'll link at the end of this one, and one that landed on my lap recently that I'd never considered. If you want to challenge yourself, I've always advocated linking a charity to your challenge. Zoe's place baby hospice is mine. I know it sounds daft, because the kids at Zoe's place don't even know me, but I put myself in the mindset that I can't let them down. And certainly some of the donations that have been made for this challenge is on the basis that I succeed. I've set myself a target of £10,000 and I've raised 1,700 so far, so there's a bit to do yet. All right, matey. Morning. No, you're all right, thank you. So that's the mental inspiration sorted, but I can't escape the fact that you've all seen me wheezing and struggling up climbs, a fraction of the required distance to conquer the beasts of Provence. The second source of inspiration that I'm currently tapping into is that I now have a cycling coach. So what does an ordinary bloke on a bike need a coach for? I'm not a finely honed athlete embarking on a competitive calendar of events and needing the marginal gains that a coach can provide to win races. And surely they're the kind of people that need a coach. Real cyclists who need that extra edge to win. Well, that's not necessarily the case. So how did this come about and why? Going back to when I did La Jog last year, the guide we had for the entire 14 days, Grant, is also a cycling coach. He saw one of my videos where I'm wheezing up hills and dreading Mont Ventoux and contacted me with a proposition. He felt he could ease my concerns, help me with my preparation, and if I signed up to a training plan, he'd donate half the fee to the Zoe's Place charity fund. That was really a difficult one to consider turning down, I think. So here I am. I've got a cycling coach. Who'd have thought it? The biggest win for me is the fact that I find it difficult to keep cycling during the dark, cold, wet winter months. And just having a structured plan during that time is making me get off my backside and do it. I refer to this in that self-motivation video. It's about creating a pseudo-obligation to get on the bike. When someone else is involved, usually somebody you're going for a ride with, you're more likely to feel obligated to do it. And that's the case when a coach has given you a structure of workouts and rides that you need to complete. If you're happy just riding a couple of times a week, doing the same distances with your mates to a cafe, you don't need a coach, of course. If you're challenging yourself with something out of the ordinary, like cycling across France and going up the giant of Provence, Mont Ventoux, then it's something you might even want to consider. For that kind of event, I need to be practicing on a specific intensity, something I've mentioned on another one of my previous videos on heart rate monitoring, which I'll link at the end of this one. When you're training for a long distance event, it's very easy to do thousands of miles in preparation that are referred to by coaches like Grant as junk miles. They get you around the 30-mile cafe ride with your mates, but they don't do much to help you be better prepared for a multi-day event where you need massive endurance. I'll also be learning and honing specific skills which can make cycling up a very long hill for hours up a mountain a more achievable and enjoyable challenge, although enjoyable may never be achievable. So this self-proclaimed ordinary bloke on a bike hasn't sold out and become a fancy bike racer. Grant's made me realise that cycling coaching is actually for ordinary people like me, wanting to do things that they feel might be slightly beyond them and help it become less of a painful experience. And critically, like I said, I'll be starting the spring in a much better state because I'll be doing a lot less of looking out the window at the weather, looking at the box of Cadbury's roses and watching a Christmas film than I perhaps would have done if Grant hadn't sent me his offer and a training plan that I now have for the winter. And the modern day training coach doesn't have to be somebody who lives down the road. I live in the Midlands, Grant lives in Cornwall, and it's totally irrelevant because I don't need him cycling beside me. It's all done by the use of an app called Training Peaks and occasional chats over a video call. I will leave a link in the description of this video to Grant's website and take a look. It may well be useful for any ordinary cyclist who's watching this, who's got a specific goal in mind and it's feeling a little bit challenging. So that's where I am with the France end-to-end and Mont Ventoux challenge for 2023. I've experienced a dip in confidence, and thanks to Grant making his offer and a couple of recent donations to the Zoe's Place fund, which clicked the total up a bit and reminded me of the 10 grand I need to raise, I'm now back and fully focused on what lies ahead. Whatever your challenges are for the year ahead, I really hope you get the enormous satisfaction of achieving them. And do look at the couple of videos I link at the end regarding motivation and heart rate monitoring, which may give you some tips along the way. And don't forget to consider the services of a cycling coach like Grant as part of your preparation. You may well be surprised how much you need it and how useful it will be. And if this has been useful for you, please subscribe to the channel if you will. I'll be really grateful. In the meantime, here are those videos I promised. Have a great year, happy cycling, and I'll see you soon.